Well, I have great respect for her. Really quite unbelievable with it because that is a great woman.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel where the classic beauty of the British monarchy meets the dazzling realm of international diplomacy. Today, from Buckingham Palace to the streets of London, we're dissecting a moment that left people speechless. Imagine this, the clear September sky over Windsor Castle in 2025. As Marine One lands on the historic lawns, flags fly in the wind, preparing for what insiders are referring to as President Donald Trump's most victorious state visit to date. She walks ahead of him, accompanied by First Lady Melania. Standing tall at the front is King Charles III, with Prince William and Princess Catherine grinning in that effortlessly regal manner that enthralls the world. Queen Camilla is by his side. However, none could have expected the last flourish when the state supper takes place beneath crystal chandeliers and the handshakes come to an end. Donald Trump stops just before the Trumps board their helicopter to leave, turns to Catherine with a cunning smile, and gives her a gift so remarkable, so full of symbolism and glitter, that it shocks both the royal family and the country. Gifted in a velvet-lined box that seems to hold the weight of two countries' destiny. This priceless memento from the heart of America is rumored to be worth millions. What could possibly cause a leader renowned for his audacious actions to make such a gesture? Sixes. And why Catherine, the silent leader ushering in a new age for the monarchy? Sixes. Click like and subscribe to stay up to date on all royal secrets and worldwide twists before we reveal this diplomatic masterpiece. Let's go back to the start of this hectic week, when everything was ready for a surprise that redefined transatlantic relations and pomp. On September 17, 2025, the visit began with all the grandeur appropriate for Trump's second state visit, a unique occurrence in contemporary history. In his opening comments at Windsor, King Charles, ever the diplomat, personally extended the invitation, highlighting the unshakable unique bond. The schedule was jam-packed, a spectacular meal where toasts flowed like good claret, a grand military procession with 500 soldiers marching in perfect formation, and private audiences that combined business and humor. With her characteristic warmth, Catherine assumed the role of ultimate host after her own victorious comeback to public life. Following health issues that captured everyone's attention, wearing a custom long-sleeve gown designed by Philippa Lepley for the welcome ceremony, Catherine was adorned in gold. Her hair was styled in a sophisticated updo that perfectly captured the light. During a combined outing to a scout troop in Windsor Great Park, Melania and Trump, dressed in a yellow sheath reminiscent of old Hollywood elegance, matched her step for step. The two women engaged in animated conversation about perseverance and family. Experts in body language later examined the video and noted Catherine's nuanced gestures. Amid the formalities, a hand on Melania's arm here, a shared chuckle there, are signs of real connection. However, beneath the clean exterior, helpers whispered about a tense undercurrent. Trump arrived with a strategy that focused heavily on trade agreements and defense alliances. Fresh off domestic successes and aiming for deals that would define his legacy, Britain needed all of its charm to lead discussions towards win-win outcomes as it navigated the post-Brexit seas and King Charles's campaign for sustainability. Here comes Catherine, the hidden weapon of the monarchy. Her composure and compassion transform possible conflict into camaraderie. Nobody could have predicted that her influence would lead to a farewell gift that felt more like a personal commitment than formalities. The relationship developed subtly over the course of the days, from garden walks to gala dinners. According to reports, Trump joked during a fireside talk that he is never shy about compliments. Catherine possesses the star quality that allows her to close deals silently. However, the true tale is sixes. It was simmering in the shadows of Windsor, where customs collide with the stories of the future. As the state visit went on, the true magic took place away from the cameras in those quiet hallways where futures are made and history whispers. Drawing on his many years as a world leader, King Charles invited Trump to a special lunch in the state apartments. Dishes full of traditional British fare, such as Yorkshire pudding and roast beef, accompanied by vintage port. Topics included NATO obligations, which Trump enthusiastically reaffirmed, and climate treaties, with Charles gently pushing for green tech partnerships. Ever the steady hand, Queen Camilla accompanied Melania on a tour of the royal archives, where she discovered letters from former presidents that inspired stories of long-lasting partnerships. However, Catherine turned out to be the unanticipated focal point of the visit. In keeping with their common interests in conservation and education, she and Melania went to the Natural History Museum on day 2. The First Lady nodded as Catherine led the group around biodiversity, exhibits while wearing a fitted blue coat with a delicate floral brooch. She is not only gorgeous but also intelligent. Trump's post-visit tweets complimenting the Wales' class act reflected the attitude expressed by one White House aide who later leaked information to the media. While taking a leisurely walk around the castle grounds, William also bonded over golf and parenthood conversations. However, Catherine's touch was more subtle and intuitive. Even the most cautious visitors were disarmed by her tales of her kids' exploits at Lamrock School, which normalized the royal bubble. These situations weren't coincidental. According to insiders, palace organizers positioned Catherine as the soft power emissary, her empathy transcending any cultural barriers. In anticipation of Trump's larger-than-life intensity, and it was successful, as the meal came to an end, with speeches highlighting the unbreakable link between nations. The air was charged with potential, but when the evening came to an end, Trump pulled Charles aside for a private conversation. Something about a unique family memento. Among the employees, whispers proliferate like wildfire. Was it more than just a typical diplomatic exchange? Sixes. The country, engrossed in social media and live streaming, felt the electricity as well, with fans swooning over her lovers rather than tiara at the gala. Hashtags like #jar, Shrine, Charm and Trump wins went viral, a glimmer from an heirloom that seemed to reflect the light of the evening. But when the helicopters roared and farewells changed into gasps at morning, nobody anticipated the unexpected turn of events. Go back several months to the planning stages to comprehend the buildup. Following Trump's January 2025 inaugural redux, curiosity was rife in diplomatic circles. Under a starved administration, Britain attempted to mend tense relations, caused by tax bats and tariffs. As Charles ascended to the throne in the midst of a global upheaval, he saw the visit as a coronation coda of sorts, an opportunity to solidify his reign's global footprint. Catherine's role 6 was carefully crafted, and her recent public comeback from cancer recovery, announcements to poised appearances at Trooping the Color had recast her as an unbreakable icon. Advisors were aware of Trump's affinity for strong women, from his praise of former royals to Melania's own trailblazing career. It seemed fated that they were paired. Let's show them the monarchy isn't stuffy, it's family with flair. Catherine joked to William during rehearsals, and she delivered. A silk scarf patterned with American wildflowers, a subtle reference in her scout visit attire, and spontaneous piano duets with Melania that brightened the lulls after dinner. By humanizing the pomp, these details transformed procedure into a connection. Ever the showman, Trump returned the favor by sharing stories from his first visit in 2019, and making light of the ensuing fake news storms. The halls were filled with laughter. However, there were significant stakes below it. A possible clean energy trade agreement worth £50 billion, rumors of collaborative space projects, even side conversations about youth programs in the United States and the United Kingdom were prompted by Catherine's discreet support of mental health initiatives. When Eve visited, the palace seemed like a positive pressure cooker that was about to explode. The present was then revealed in a sun-dappled anteroom rather than with much ceremony. Trump's voice broke through the morning silence for the princess who is the center of this house as the group was getting ready to leave. It was something from my heart. Charles was briefly stunned when the box opened, revealing not only luxury but legend. Aide was frantically searching for etiquette playbooks. On September 19, 2025, dawn dawned over Windsor with a golden haze that offered the ideal farewell. Final preparations hummed through the castle, gardeners trimmed the long walk for the aerial exit, and staff polished silver one last time. In the Oak Room, Trump and Melania, dressed in clean blue, had coffee with the royals and discussed the victories of the previous week. Charles grinned at the development of a fisheries agreement. William gave Trump a pat on the back for exchanging wise counsel. While the youngest Wales scampered around, Catherine, dressed simply in a white blouse and pearls, exuded that post-event serenity, her hand gently caressing Louis's locks. Then Trump motioned for a private meeting as the valet was loading the cars. Only the core group, William, Catherine, Charles, Camilla, and the Trump family. Just the creak of old floors beneath your feet, no press, no fanfare. Trump pulled a midnight blue velvet case with the presidential seal stamped on it from his inside pocket. He said, "Catherine's eyes are locking. This week, you've been the Trump card, the one building bridges where walls may have stood. America wants to appropriately express gratitude." Time stopped when he flipped the latch. A unique brooch was tucked up on satin, a walnut-sized perfect sapphire surrounded by paved diamonds that caught the light like captured stars set on platinum shaped like an eagle in midair. However, this was more than just jewelry. Later, insiders verified its lineage. The focal stone, a 42-carat Burmese sapphire known as the Eagle's Eye, was cut specifically over a period of 6 months by Tiffany and Co craftsmen from Montana's fabled Yogo Gulch mines. Each of the smaller jewels that surround it symbolizes a significant year in US and UK history, from the independence pangs of 1776 to the fresh accords of 2025. From Donald, America's Boldwing, September 2025, to Catherine, Britain's immortal spark, engraved on the back in Trump's own script. The room echoed with gasps. Charles's hand shot to his lips. Camilla's gaze grew wide. William laughed with astonished delight. Ever calm Catherine carefully stroked it and whispered, "Mr. President, it's breathtaking. Truly beyond words." Melania nodded, her own present to Camilla, a similar enamel bowl that suddenly seemed insignificant. Six's air worth it. Experts estimate it to be worth more than $5 million, not only for the diamonds but also for the narrative, a unique symbol of coalition created by fire. Word split more quickly than protocol permitted. A covert communication from a valet to a Sun reporter. From a distance, a hazy picture was taken, and by midday the country was on fire. Kate is stunned by Trump's 5 mothers. Headlines from the Daily Mail and the New York Post screamed in Six's eyes. Social media went crazy. In just a few hours, #KateBro trended with 2 million posts. Fans are analyzing every aspect. One wrote, "She's the real MVP of diplomacy," while royal observers praised it as the gift that gifts back, signifying Catherine's role in closing negotiations. Anonymous nuggets from palace sources, who are typically reticent, fueled the hysteria. The design of the brooch was inspired by FDR's 1939 gift to the late Queen, but it was updated with contemporary flair. In a White House statement, Trump's aides skillfully polished it, describing it as a tribute of appreciation for the princess's grace and reflecting the glitter she brings to international stages. The moment stretched out in the room, laden with significance. The eagle appeared to soar against Catherine's blouse as she immediately attached it to her lapel. Hugs and promises of reciprocal invitations ensued. Next, there were rotors. The brooch gleamed in the sunlight as Marine One took off, a beacon waving goodbye. Shockwaves, however, were only getting started. Accepting such extravagance caused instant controversy for a monarchy schooled in austerity. Was it an ostentatious overreach or a victory of soft power? Tension was transformed into treasure when Six's regained his composure and allegedly whispered to William, "She's done it again." From pubgoers to lawmakers, everyone in the country leaned in, eager to see what lay below the gloss. When you look more closely at this eagle's eye, the present becomes more than just glitter. It's a masterful use of extravagant symbolism. Rarer than hen's teeth, Yogo sapphires are extracted from veins that haven't been touched since the gold rush of the 1890s. Their cornflower blue reflects the depths of the Atlantic that unite the countries. Tiffany's involvement is an homage to history, reminiscent of the interactions that won over royal hearts during the Kennedy era. The 18 accent diamonds, each laser etched with microdates, commemorate significant events from the War of 1812 that gave rise to enduring respect. Felon Lease Lifeline from 1941 to the hypothetical alliance agreement on AI ethics in 2025. Trump's engraving of Sixes is pure personalization, combining his arrogance with Catherine's quiet strength. The Trump card pun landing like poetry is valued by experts at gemological institutes at $5 to $2 million. It is destined for the royal collection and may be loaned to museums as a diplomatic relic. However, Catherine Six's is portrayed in palace briefings as the emotional center of the visit. Yes, the Trump family responded with stories of their own struggles when she exposed her candor in casual conversations about everything from cancer fights to parenting demands. She understands the burden of the entire planet on young people, Melania told Camilla, according to leaks. This brooch is Size's daughter transformation from consort to cornerstone is a tribute to our common humanity. The shock spread. In his subsequent speech, King Charles, defender of subtle elegance, responded to inquiries by referring to it as a giving symbol of friendship's eternal flight. However, in a time of cost-cutting scrutiny, courtiers were informally threatened over appearances. Is there a chance of reaction with such a bounty? 68% of respondents to Six's public surveys, which were displayed on BBC screens, praised Catherine as Britain's greatest export. As always, William shared a family photo on Instagram. The brooch was proudly pinned. The gift's timing enhanced the dropped at the brink of departure. It guaranteed that it dominated exit coverage. The caption reads, "Grateful for gestures that lift us all." Trump texted aides on his plane headed for Washington, D.C., "Perfect. We needed a closing, and Kate is it." It was vindication for Britain, proof that Catherine's charm delivers tangible rewards, from tiara-level tokens to trade wins. When we examine the craftsmanship, we are transported to the secretive workshops of New York. In a rare interview, lead artisan Maria Voss, a third-generation Tiffany hand, explained the procedure. The eagle's eye was obtained from a confidential vault, like the gaze of freedom, its facets cut to refract light, a subtle homage to Catherine's appreciation of the natural world. The eagle form 6 is modeled by the Great Seal, but softened with flowing wings. Steady hands were necessary for engraving. Trump added a post-presidential seal with his flourish. It's not an impulse. Since its spring summits, it has been planned. Precedents can be found in diplomatic gift logs hidden in state archives. Obama's iPod for Elizabeth and Reagan's China for Diana don't compare to this scale for a non-cis. Why the shock? It defies convention. Where are lesser gifts, such as books or engraved cufflinks given to princes? After receiving it, Catherine's reputation soars, and she becomes the public face of the kingdom. It caused happiness tinged with jealousy across the country. Economists linked Kayet's scoop to a 3% increase in the stock price of Anglo-US companies, while tabloids ran spreads on it. Charles, ever the archivist, compares it to Victoria's diamond exchanges with Lincoln and sees it through a legacy perspective. It serves as personal armor for Catherine, a symbol of victory that she holds dear. Later that week, she went to a children's hospice visit. Crowds cheered and sang her name as the brooch remained. The present did more than simply conclude a visit. It wrote a new chapter in which the grace of a single woman commanded both kindness and jewels in equal measure. Beneath the shine of the brooch is a much more delicate tale that touches the hearts of a country that is still recovering alongside her princess, from happy births to the devastating disease. Catherine's path over the past few years has shaped her into a person of quiet strength. The gifted moment is described by insiders as therapeutic. Trump's grandiose praise is healing old wounds. He reportedly continued off mic, "You face storms we can't imagine and come out shining," which is a rare vulnerability from the dealmaker. With her characteristic calm, Catherine said, "Strength is shared, Mr. President. Thank you for seeing that." This discussion, which only a few people saw, highlights the diplomatic and empathetic underbelly of the visit. Charles felt a mixture of nostalgia and paternal pride upon witnessing his daughter-in-law accept such an honor. Elizabeth's passing cast a shadow over his own ascent in 2022, making the gesture a bridge to better futures. Later, Camilla confessed to friends with tears in her eyes. The crown seems to have regained its brilliance and captured the rush of passion. Squeezing Catherine's hand, William, ever the rock, felt the family's unity despite his whisper being lost to the law. Filtered leaks made the country aware of it as well. Social media was flooded with hashtag Kate Strong survivors telling inspirational tales inspired by her candor. However, there were undercurrents of worry and shock. Did Trump's tariff threats serve as a diversion from more profound divisions caused by this extravagance? Sixes. Sky News pundits disagreed, but public opinion leaned towards affection, seeing the brooch as confirmation of Catherine's contribution to healing a broken world. The present taps raw nerves as you peel back even further. Trump, a media survivor, greatly admired the international support that Catherine's 2024 health scare, which was revealed with unvarnished honesty, garnered for the royal family. He told Charles during a visit call, "I'm reminded of combatants back home by your girl's bravery, with its eagle wings inspiring resiliency for the whale children peering from doorways. This brooch size is a talisman of such admiration."